So I thought it might be kind of interesting to do a video of what it's been like actually staying in my van. Brought you guys along for the van build, and then just kind of started doing travel videos and other things. So I thought you might be curious of just the reality of staying in here and stuff. So it's taken a little bit to get used to sleeping in here. For one, just the smaller size bed, the twin size bed is a little bit different for me. Just I like to spread out a bit, but kind of whatever is outside, because I don't have any bigger ventilation like that, I have to keep the front windows rolled down. So when I was on the East Coast and it was really humid, all of that came in. But then staying in my van here in Colorado, it's really, really cool at night. So I actually had to get my fleece blanket out. It's like, oh, it's really chilly. And so I've been sleeping a lot better now that it's cooler at night than just, the really, really humid nights, 3 a.m. where you're just still sweating. That was rough. The only other thing I would say that's been a little bit different, again, still with sleeping, is just the fact that you can hear outside noises and stuff. So even right now, well, I think it stopped a little bit, but there was a little bit of rain, and they were showing that for the next hour it's supposed to do some thunderstorms. So my first time staying in my van with a possible thunderstorm, but earplugs work great, and it's been okay. It's an adjustment, but I'm still happy to do it. It's an adventure and things like that. So the fun part is just being able to park wherever I want. Oh, tonight I'm going to park over here. It looks quieter, or there's a big tree for shade, or whatever. And then I actually drove down about an hour away from Denver to a town called Colorado Springs, or it's a city. And tomorrow we are going to go explore that, we meaning me and you. And so I am going to go ahead and go to sleep. I'll show you what Colorado Springs is like in the morning. So good night. I'm at the northern part of Colorado Springs, and I just wanted to show you a quick view because I'm kind of a little bit higher to where I can have this good view without buildings and stuff. So yeah, it's really pretty. In some ways with the mountains, I find it a little bit prettier than Denver just because these guys are so much closer. But there isn't, for me, as much to do here. So it's pretty to come down for very specific things, which I'm going to show you today. But Denver is still my special city. I am kind of in an area called Manitou Springs. And real quick, do you see the kind of separation of trees, the line going up the mountain over there? It's something called the Incline. Let me actually bring this back over here so where I'm not trying to do two things at once. But it's called the Incline, and it is a very intense hike. And I really wanted to do that and show you kind of what it was all about. But unfortunately, they have closed it due to the virus, and not all hikes in Colorado are closed, so I was actually a little bit surprised by that. But with that trail, oh, you'll see it here in a second, it's a little bit narrow, so I think it'd just be a little bit hard for people to kind of not be side by side in some ways. And some people will actually do it going both up and back down. And I know they were trying to talk about, just do like one-way traffic, and the other way back down, you kind of go over the mountain and then it's really gentle on the other side. But yeah, unfortunately it's closed, so they don't know when it'll be reopened. But I just wanted to show that to you real quick while I'm passing it. So this right here is something called the Miramont Castle. And it's just right like one street off from the main area from Manitou Springs. And I've actually been in here once before, and it's kind of a cool history of what it was originally designed for back in, I think it was 1895. And then they, about 100 years later, transformed it into what it is now, where it's just a museum and you can do tea time and tours and stuff. I actually saw it at Christmas time, and kind of in front of this big door here, and I want to say even in this area, was these huge Christmas trees. And it was really pretty how they had it decorated, but I just wanted to kind of show this off the beaten path a little bit. Just to show a quick little overview of the history here, this main part here I thought was funny. In 1897, there was a charity ball, and 300 members of Colorado society danced, and people paid $1 just to watch. And in 1899, the people that built it actually left and turned it over to the Sisters of Mercy, and they opened a sanitarium, which you can see in this picture over here. And they did that for, looks like from 1904 to 1928. So yeah, kind of a cool history this place has. This next place that I'm going to show you is actually a place I haven't been to before, so this is my first time being here. But it's called Manitou Springs Cliff Dwellings, and it was actually the homes built into the side of the red rocks that you'll see here in a second. They were called the Ancient Pueblans or the Anasazis, and I wanted to read something real quick that I was given at the entrance that just explains a little bit more about the history and stuff. So, as you enter into the world of the Anasazis, be aware that this is one of the most accessible examples of cliff-dwelling architecture anywhere in the world. These alcoves provided shelter from wind, rain, and snow, thus avoiding the effects of the harsh climate. So I thought this would just be really cool to go and check out. It's really cool right here. They are listing some of these plants around here and what they were used for back in the day. So you can see some stuff that is like arthritis relief, rattlesnake bites, for toothaches and other things. And I've always been really fascinated by how the Native Americans really made such good use of the land and what they found to be their own doctors. This tree that's actually behind me here is called a ponderosa pine tree, and they said that actually when it's really hot, the bark smells like vanilla, and then when you know, it's cold and they needed firewood and stuff for to build a roof, they would cut this down, and I can only imagine what that smelled like in summer, just very aromatic. Apparently the best place to get a video of me is inside of my car. But it is a little bit quieter and a little bit cooler. It's starting to get pretty hot outside, so this is just a little bit easier. But I'm south of Manitou Springs right now in a little area called Old Colorado City. And there are two things that I want to see. I actually haven't been here myself before, so we're going to explore this together. But it's the old town, the little downtown, if you will. I mean, it's just a few streets. But I'm gonna check that out, and just about 5 minutes away from here is a museum called Ghost Town Museum that looks pretty cool. So let's go see what this is all about. I love cool old wall murals like this, especially when they take up the whole wall. And even this one kind of tells a story. I love the fake windows in between the real one. But this is a really well done way to welcome you to the old city. As you walk around not to notice that this is a big mining town, or it was in the gold rush days, as they just have so many of these symbols and stuff of what it would have been like back in the 1800s to do some gold mining here. I'm actually quite impressed with how much culture this little teeny tiny town has. So this is the second Tibet place I've seen. I saw a Tapa restaurant, a Greek restaurant, a Thai restaurant, and yeah, they're just packing lots of culture in this little tiny town. From the old Colorado City to where I am at the Ghost Town Museum, I thought this was just really funny. It said on Google Maps, 4 minutes by car, an hour and 23 minutes by walking. And I just thought that was such an American thing, because it's just not always so pedestrian friendly here. Having traveled around the world, they really cater a lot more to pedestrians than to cars. And here it's the complete opposite. So good old America and needing to have a car sometimes. Alright, this is the last thing I'm going to show you in Colorado Springs, but in my opinion this is the best part, and I feel like kind of what it's known for. So this area to the left is called Garden of the Gods, and they are just beautiful, and of course the mountains behind them are beautiful too. If and when you come, do yourself a favor and come a little bit early, because parking is a little bit difficult to find. So this right here is what everybody comes to see. This is definitely the money shot. It does kind of come up and around here. A little bit hard to see just with the contrast. This guy's huge, isn't he? Now I want to say that area at the top up there that kind of has almost the hole is called Kissing Camels. There you go. But this right here is just such a beautiful picture. The crazy thing about this is that you actually can climb here, obviously with a permit. Can you imagine climbing this guy? Okay, so that was the end of Colorado Springs. So what did you think? Was it good? Was it interesting? What was your favorite part or place? Let me know, as I'd love to hear from you.